world of fitness gurus, trainers, and tons of information, myself, Chrissy Sansevier, co-host Chris Marzarella, and comedian and producer of the show, Sean Malloy, break down the real and raw of a fitness-based lifestyle with plenty of tips and insights to achieve today's ultimate fitness lifestyle. Consistency, variety, and convenience all have to come together to help create this listening experience. I'm a NASM certified functional trainer and a corrective exercise specialist. I am also a licensed massage therapist in New Jersey for these past 20 years. My co-host Chris is a USAPL powerlifting coach, as well as an ACSM personal trainer and physique coach. Together, we all blend our contrasting fitness ideas and come to you with industry knowledge, integrity, and much needed humor in today's fitness normal. So welcome into your fitness lifestyle podcast. Welcome back, guys, to the Fitness Lifestyle Podcast. I am your host, Chrissy Sansevier. I am here with Chris, and we have a special guest today. We have Maureen Tirella. Welcome, Maureen.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Maureen is the owner of a private practice that addresses mental health and addictions. She's a licensed clinical social worker and a licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor. We're so glad to have you on the show, Maureen. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I'm going to hand this over to Chris.
Okay, so the reason why Maureen's with us today is because I've been dealing with some inner demons at the very start of the COVID lockdown, where everybody knows that I go to the gym almost every day. And that was pulled away from me. Everything was closed down. I had nothing. And I had some baggage from when I was a kid that started reoccurring in night terrors. And turns out that Maureen has helped me. She told me that I have PTSD, which I kind of figured I did, but I also deal with anger issues because of the PTSD. And I have a very deranged Batman, overprotective nature, which is why I have the wallpaper up today of a Batman signal. I did that as homage to her. And so I can't thank Maureen enough for how many good things she's done for me in my life. And I wanted to have her on forever. So today we're very lucky to have her. And I'm going to hand it back to Chrissy.
Absolutely. Thanks, Maureen, for helping Chris out. We all appreciate it.
I'm in the field right now. All right, together.
So today, you guys, we wanted to talk about how fitness can help your mental health. So I want to begin this conversation by asking you a little bit more about the COVID lockdown, because that obviously was a very big deal for a lot of people. So Maureen, how do you think the COVID lockdown affected people's physical and their mental fitness, both physical and mental?
Well, I think just like Christy's example of his experience kind of nailed it. You know, we go through our daily life, our routine, or, we go to work, we're with our family for this amount of time, doing these errands, doing these tasks. And that's what we expect, it's just what we do. Sometimes we don't know why we do it. We just do it. And then when that coping skill or that escape, whatever, however we look at it, is kind of pulled away from us, we're stuck and we're like, wow, I have all this stuff in my head that I've either been distracting from or not even realizing it was going on. There are many people who their only social connection was work, and now they're home all the time. There's people that were in a troubled relationship and now they're home all the time. So what do we do? What do we have to look at? Ourselves. That's it.
Yeah, I think too, I just think the fact that it was COVID, we're talking of individually, but this affected the world. So I think that even that on that grand scale of being that big and that large, not that we're just individualized, but knowing that the entire world was going through it,
Yeah.
is
Well,
that's probably more of a burden, right? Would you think? I mean,
the whole world was coated in fear.
yeah,
You know, whether you were on the side that, took it very, very seriously and you were afraid to leave the house, or you're on the side that was like, I don't know if this is real, something seems fishy. Either way, the entire globe was looking at everything through this fear lens. And that was the one thing that we all had in common. So, you put that many people, forget that, put 10 people in a room that are scared. How is that going to feel? Now you look at it at such a grand scale, what do we do with that?
yeah,
I was more angry um, than anything because they shut down the gyms, obviously. And when I was capable of working again, I still look at the masks like the people that wear them are like fear, or the people, they bought into the fear mongering from the mask. And I know it's just my side, my opinion, but there are, due to the lockdown and due to the fears that people have had, uh, it's amazing to see the residual effect from the lockdown that still exists today.
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, we're still living it, especially kids are still wearing masks in school. That's not comfortable for them. It definitely impedes their development. And we forget that developmentally, it's science. These are like social cues that we have to learn. So how is a human, and this is not like a stance either way on anything. This is just human development. This is just kind of like, we go through these stages throughout our life where there's, attachment being part of it, and then, social connection and stuff. And now we're not doing it in the way that we as humans are organically disposed to do it. So
How did you
everything within our nature is kind of stunted, especially for younger kids, young adults.
how do you feel about kids wearing masks? What does it do socially, mentally, physiologically, psychologically? What what are your opinions on that?
I think just from this is strictly mental health. This is just mental health because that's my area of expertise. I can't comment on the physical health because I have the same amount of information as everybody else, and that's not my area. So I don't really know. As a mom, like, do I want my kids to go to school and just have like a normal experience? Absolutely. But will there always be that little voice in my head being like, oh, but what if, because I have to keep them safe no matter what. So like if I had to put my kid in a bubble, well, I might put him in a bubble because I'm a mom, you know. Um, Developmentally, it concerns me as, a mental health clinician. Like, what is this going to look like moving forward? What is this going to mean for our attachment style? We're already so disconnected because of social media and phones. Like, people don't look at each other anymore. So now we have, not only our attention is put in other places, but now we can't even see facial expressions, if we are with somebody.
Right.
So
yeah,
yeah, it's scary. It's definitely concerning, without a doubt. I've heard of some teachers doing FaceTime where they like let the kid, not often, but every once in a while, like let a kid go to the front of the class and like pull their mask down and smile at their classmates and put it back up and go sit down. And I heard somebody doing that, and I was like, that's awesome. It's a little bit, but it's something like fun for them to look forward to.
wow, really?
Yeah.
It's true. It's crazy because you walk in the store and you don't know what anybody looks like. I mean, you don't know what anybody looks like. I just hope that this ends sooner than we think. I don't know if it will. We'll have to.
Mhm.
That's something that's soon to be, you know, soon to be recognized. But so moving on, I wanted to ask you more about like let's talk about weight gain, right? In the fitness aspect. So how do you help someone who's gained weight from COVID? Like, how do you help them break that cycle? Like, what are those steps that you would take in order to help them? Because I can tell you, I mean, I didn't gain a lot of weight, but regardless, I have depression by default. I mean, anybody who knows me knows that. But even a little bit of weight gain for me, it totally had me. I was not okay. I had a problem. I mean, it really took me down. So, like, how do you break that cycle? Like, how do you help them in that regard?
Well, I was at the first part, like I do address a lot of, nutrition aspects and fitness aspects in my practice, because I do believe it's a whole like mind, body, soul experience. And you really can't have mental health without physical health, and vice versa. I think step one is the realization that nobody gained weight because of COVID. That's not a symptom of COVID. It's why. Like, what is the reason why during COVID that you gained weight? Is it the things I mentioned earlier? Is it, is it fear? Is it the schedule change? Is it just the simple fact that the gyms were closed? Like, what did this look like for you? Were you afraid to go to the grocery store? And once you figure out your personal why, then you could start making the changes. I'm trying to think of an example. Well, I think the gym one is an easy one. I remember being at work at the time. I was still working in a hospital full time. And they were like, and I was following the news obsessively because they were talking about closing the gyms. And I was like, oh my God, they can't, like, and I was like, all right, well, I went today. All right, there's 2 weeks. What am I gonna do? I don't have workout equipment at home. And I was so scared of that time away. But the reason why was because that was my outlet. I was running a private practice part-time.
Same as me.
Yeah. And then I was in a hospital full-time. Now they're telling me like I was one of the people that could leave the hospital. And then there's guilt for not working and working remotely. So now I have guilt with that. And, as a caretaker, like I need to be with the people. I'm a social worker. I have to be with them. I shouldn't be at home. So the one thing that I had, well, two things, roller derby that took a hiatus too, that was pulled. So my why was I didn't have an outlet. So I was just I wrote myself off. I was like, all right, I have to take care of my clients. I have to do my best for the hospital, and what I need doesn't matter. I don't need that. So I stopped working out. I didn't, I wasn't one of those people fighting for dumbbells online like somebody else I know.
Oh, I was doing a lot of fighting.
Oh, I remember those days.
Oh yeah. And then when I got a pair of bands and some dumbbells, it was like the world opened up to me again.
Yeah.
And then obviously right around the time that I started seeing you, or we had FaceTime discussions and phone calls, she was like the light, because I was in a dark place mentally, and I didn't gain weight. I actually lost weight, but it was because I was depressed, and she knows my depression can hit like a blanket. Like I've told her that there's a shroud over me of sadness, and there's the aggression and the anger just magnified because of the lockdown, and that I don't want to go off course, but she got me through those first few steps. I'm sorry, continue, Maureen.
No, I think that's important because it's not just about, and we talk about weight gain, but it's weight concerns. For you, what hit you hard was the weight loss. You were not happy with the way you were looking physically, which then transcended to how you were feeling emotionally. Well, back and forth. I mean, you were in a cycle. They were bouncing off each other pretty good. But it goes down to back to the why. Why you were feeling, isolated, you lost your outlet, and what next? So it's a lot of times about rebuilding what we need and seeing like that next step. Like mine was schedule. That was like, all right, well, the outlet was the gym, and that's what I did. I worked out and I took care of myself, and that was people. But why was that really so important? I needed someplace outside of that. I needed time out from my brain and the stress. So, okay, I don't have that stuff, but what do I have? I have meditation, so I can calm myself. I could go for a walk and connect with some neighbors outside. So that's, what I started doing. So I was like, all right. So then once that why was filled, I started feeling a little bit better. And then I started being the person that was like fighting for dumbbells. One day my friend showed up with this like rusty old pair of like 20s. I don't know, they were like sitting in a garage forever. And I was like, yes. But it was because I addressed the whys. I needed some sort of structure to have an outlet. And then I had the motivation to do the work. To think that like, we're just gonna be like, all right, on Monday, I'm gonna go back to it. That's not realistic, because it's not the gym. It's not the food in itself. It's why it's important to us.
Right. And I guess you have to find your own ways to combat that. I guess the depression of it makes bring some people down, and then you have issues with the eating. I mean, I don't stress eat, but I know there's a lot of people that do that.
Mhm.
Stress, depress, eat, right? And then, I mean, if you know fitness, then you know that you really, I mean, really all you would need if you had to is four walls, and you could still get an excellent workout in if you knew what you were doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did,
But
and I
but
hated it.
right, I know, but that's the thing. It's like not, if you're in the field, and people who practice fitness on a regular basis, they get it. But there's people out there that, they go to the gym 3 times a week, and then they're just like, oh shit, like there's no gym. Like, what do we do?
Mhm.
And I could just see them really struggling.
Yeah, and that goes back, like, kind of what I said, like, I needed certain things for me to do what I thought I needed the gym.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah. Right.
there's 4 walls, but
Yeah.
we don't there's always there's the other excuse. Like, we can blame COVID for it. We could blame a bad day for it, but it comes back to, like, it has to have true meaning for us.
Got it. It's
This is going to sound weird, but
Probably.
probably coming from me, it's normal. Um, there is something about the feeling of chalk and steel, cold steel on my hands. Like, dude, it's a cliche, but the weight doesn't lie to you.
Mhm.
Anything that you're feeling, the weight's not going to lie to you. It doesn't have a bullshit filter. And I think that was part of the therapeutic effect that it has on me. And
Mhm.
when I lost that, it was uh, it was like somebody died in my family.
Yeah. Well, it's also like any other addiction. Sometimes it's the ritual of that gets us. It's not
Yes,
about the result, but
yes,
working like somebody that's been working with substance use disorders for so long, somebody can be going through like active withdrawals. The body is shutting down, chills, muscle cramps, diarrhea,
yes.
vomiting, and then they get the call that like somebody's going to come through with something. They feel better. It doesn't mean that their symptoms weren't real. They were actually having this, reaction to the withdrawal. But in that moment, like, okay, I know somebody's coming. I know I can go to the gym. I know I'm on my way to the casino. I can make up that money. Whatever it is, that mindset comes in, and we hear like quitting smoking cigarettes. They'll say like there's an oral fixation to it. Put a toothpick in your mouth, chew gum, and it might just distract a little bit. For you, you're in many ways dependent on the gym. So yeah, that makes total sense. It doesn't sound weird at all. Like, yeah, the chalk, steel, yeah, that's part of your experience.
I'm feeling it right now. I'm not even holding it.
It's instilled in you, Chris.
Yes,
You are.
yeah.
This who
It,
you are.
it sets my bar.
It
Uh,
did.
you are
That's
the
awesome.
bar.
I am the bar. I love that.
That's your bar. That's your Friday night bar. That's my Friday night bar these days, anyway. All right. So fitness is an addiction. I mean, it can be
Yeah,
not for everybody, but it can be. Speaking of addiction, let's go into that. Fitness itself, right? What kind of addictions can it break? Can it break other addictions that we have? Even though it's an addiction itself, let's put that aside. But can it break other addictions if you get involved in it, so to speak?
yeah, I think absolutely, but if it's something that truly matters to us, you can't be, like a person that's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna like lose some weight and like I'm gonna meet somebody great because I'm gonna look good. And like that's not gonna do anything for you. You're gonna go, you might feel a little bit better, but you probably might not stick with it because you have this um, alternative uh, motivation source, right? But if it matters to you and it's something that you value, absolutely. We tend to like I always say like you'll hurt somebody that you love very easily, but you hardly ever hurt somebody that you respect. So if you respect your wellness, respect your time in the gym, respect your nutrition and what all this truly means, then yeah, it can, because we don't want to lose it. We don't want to like disappoint ourselves. We don't want to break that cycle. So it can lead to like a growth as far as like the recovery process, but it's not going to save the day unless we truly value it and respect it.
I see. So say because I mean I do know a lot of people who had drug addictions and
Mhm.
or alcohol addictions, and now that they are sober in that aspect, in that area, I mean they are in the gym all the time.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which
If they're prioritizing their health, and that's the why, if they're prioritizing their health and not like how I'm going to fill out my clothes or what. But if it's, so it
right.
depends, back to the why.
And it's like, it can be all addictions. Do you think that it would help like people what about food and all of that stuff? Does it not matter the addiction? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it matters at all. I mean, I think it would even, you know, the codependency we have on other humans, even like that addiction. I think once we're prioritizing ourselves and what we want and need,
Right.
we can overcome anything. And I think, you know, physical fitness is an amazing tool.
I agree. I agree. Let me ask you this. Both Chris and I were curious about this. So you've got out of the bad habit, right? You got out of using or whatnot, and you're doing fitness and you're taking care of your health and you value that. How do you keep yourself from reverting back to those bad addictions that you had?
Well, like the one thing they always kind of reflect on, especially in the rooms, is like the hungry, angry, lonely, tired thing,
Yes.
and sometimes we have to just do like a quick inventory. Like, am I eating okay? Like, am I angry? If I am angry, why? Because angry is just a big bodyguard. Anger, I'm sorry, it's just a big bodyguard. That's not really what's going on.
Oh, I like that.
And then, yeah, you love bodyguards. Look at you.
Hmm.
Again, we'll talk later, Chris. Lonely, like, do I have people in my life that are enriching me? Like, just because there's people around doesn't necessarily mean we're not lonely.
This is
You
true.
know, am I connected? Am I truly feeling that I have people that support me and are motivating me, um, even if it is just to tell me to like sit down. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
uh,
I admit that I go to the rooms daily and I'm part of the 12-step program. So I've learned, um, I know what you're saying and I understand that. So it's true. We do it. It's all about taking inventory,
yeah, for sure.
questioning, you know,
Mhm,
questioning, going through the steps, so to speak, you know.
mhm.
I've attended AA meetings as an anonymous person when they were doing them online with another friend of mine. And uh, personal history, I've had an addiction to steroids on and off for close to 15 to 20 years. And she helped me break that addiction to a point where I'm managing my addiction. It's still there. I still have uh, when I'm thinking of a particular steroid that I've used in the past that really fucked up my health, that gave me pancreatitis and cysts in my liver, and then this little 7 pound beast comes into my life, and she's a total game changer, and she's my granddaughter, and it's like now it's all about longevity. And yeah, I want to look like a superhero, and I still probably want to do that, but not so long ago, trenbolone, which is something they feed cat while they shoot into cows to make the meat more. And I hate talking about this, but uh, bodybuilding can be an addiction, and there are certain people that shouldn't compete. I'm one of them. Uh, the last time I competed, I passed out because I collapsed. I had a seizure. I am epileptic, but the last time I competed, I misused Lasix, which is a diuretic, and I collapsed on the floor. Made a big crack in the wall when I fell, which
Jesus.
I'm proud of.
As
Oh,
soon as you said it, I was like, and pride.
boom! And my wife made me promise five 5 or 6 years ago to the day, uh, to stop competing, or you're going to lose me, and then you're going to lose yourself. And I guess the end point of this is there's addictions, and then Maureen helped me break the addiction. And sometimes I'll sit in on AA meetings, blank on the Zoom meetings. I don't want to, I don't want to share. I just want to listen to what other people's struggles are. And that's from my friend. She said, just listen in. You don't have to say anything. Just listen in. And that has helped me break well, obviously with Maureen, but it's also broken this addiction, as well as my granddaughter being in my life. And just, I don't know what the end point of this is, but Maureen's instrumental in me changing my life.
Well, I think you're just kind of like now, like what I was saying, like you're back to the why thing that I just have been like harping on, but your granddaughter was the why. That was something as powerful, like it gave you something. And this is one thing that they like frown on in the room. So I'm sure you're kind of like, oh, but that like sometimes we don't love ourselves enough to take the first step. We have to do it for somebody else, just to get us going. But then where the rooms come in, it's like the only way you're to maintain it is it for yourself. You did it for her, but now it's for you because you want this, better quality of life.
I think it's that. And my wife, who's probably one of the strongest people I ever met, stuck by me. And I actually feel like she loves me unconditionally. And I know I'm blushing right now. So, well, the two most impactful women in my life, three: my mom, my wife, and now this little brat that I got to babysit for the first time yesterday, who turned around and said to me she loved me. I was like, whoa. And it's pretty powerful, and then you realize you're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it because you want to be around these unbelievable people. And those are my whys.
Yeah.
Why I'm doing it. Not obviously because I want to maintain better health and live long and prosper. Star Trek reference there. But yeah, they have become my whys, and why I'm taking care of myself. And I got a great life right now. Like I think it's almost 2 years now. This is the most successful I've ever been as a trainer professionally, and life is good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You deserve it, man. You've been doing this for a long. We've been doing it for a while. It actually worked out in your favor. You learned a lot when it right.
It really did, because
I know
business skyrocketed, and with the new tools that I have in my toolbox to handle situations, I'm not 100% perfect, but this woman right here in front of us, Maureen, she's giving me the keys to the new car, so to speak, and I am very blessed to have her and my wife and and all that other stuff, and but life is fucking great right now.
That's awesome. Actually, Maureen, interestingly, and I've known Chris for a long time, actually, through the gym, but he actually became part of the podcast because I had a podcast about why when the gyms were going to open up, right, Chris?
I remember.
I was like, he was like totally like, and I'm like, cool, and then we started talking, and now, now he's the co-host of the Fitness Lifestyle Podcast. So
big deal.
Yeah, it's a real big deal.
Hey, don't make fun of this. Listen to me. Bastard.
Because you continue. I'm sorry. I went off track.
Good talk. So I wanted to, why we're speaking about the Fitness Lifestyle Podcast and why you just completely bashed it. Listeners, don't listen to Chris. Again, remember he has anger issues.
I'm a bit salty.
He's a bit salty. For me, my favorite sport and how I keep fit. Well, In the summertime, I love beach volleyball and going to the gym. I'm into this thing called Legree. It's like a fitness method, a specific fitness method. It's almost like Pilates times like 100. And I do some running. And Chris, you're bodybuilding. Go ahead, throw us off under what you're into. What, bodybuilding, more powerlifting, right?
All of the above. I love strength training in general. I love just the sport itself, powerlifting, strongman, bodybuilding. They're all interconnected or interrelated. Um, I I love what it makes the body look like. I love studying it. That's really my sport. And then through a challenge, I'm gonna do a tough mutter. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. So and I'm running
Good.
twice a week. I'm running twice a week. I'm doing weighted carries with a 30-pound backpack. Just trying to challenge myself in new ways. I'm going to start swimming eventually. But Maureen,
Yes, sir.
what do you do for fitness or sports? We'd
Uh,
love to know.
oh, I'm so glad you asked.
Sure.
My go-to outside of the gym for the past 13, 14 years. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 14 years has been roller derby. So that was another thing, like, you know, the aftermath of COVID that was kind of removed from my life. So that's been a little rough. Like we have some practices, but they're like outdoors. It's kind of like hit or miss. It's kind of hard to like build a work schedule around it because, if it rains, we don't have practice. So I'm not going to take the time off of work in the hopes that, maybe I'll get to skate. So I'm kind of just waiting very not patiently for
So
that.
you're a professional wrestler on wheels.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, so badass. And she's
Yeah.
built like a superhero.
Where are you
Yeah,
doing
Mighty
this
Mouse. I'm sorry, what was that?
where do you do this?
Well, we travel. Our home for practices and stuff has been Jackson. Um, but previously, before Sandy, we were our arena, for lack of a better term, was the convention hall in Asbury Park.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, it was great. I mean, that was our heyday. Like it was just like some of the best years of my life there. But we travel, so up and down the East Coast.
Wow.
We really, um, it's a global sport, so we can really compete against anybody within the world, but it's really, it comes down to like finances and stuff. So the ranking system is a little bit hard to explain. It would take forever, but there's potential to travel the world doing it if we could afford to. But we're all kind of like working Jersey girls that are just trying to, we're like, all right, we could do a tournament in Virginia that's like 3 days there, or go up to Maine, but we pretty much stay within, I think, like Maine to Virginia, Baltimore area typically.
So you're like the female Apollo Ono? No, that's Ice, right? He's Ice.
What
Is
the
he
hell are
not?
you talking about?
No, remember Paulo Ono? Didn't he do roller derby in the Olympics?
Oh gosh, yeah, I know who you're talking about, but yeah, I
No
don't
idea.
worry that much.
Probably best. Never mind. Jesus Christ. Really? You're a dick today.
So when are you going into professional wrestling, Maureen?
That was one of my dreams as a little girl, actually. I still watch wrestling a lot.
You really?
Wow.
Yeah, a
I
lot.
actually I got
Right.
approached when I was working at a car dealership. I was a car detailer. I was about 20 years old, 20, 21. And Iron Mike Sharp had
Mhm.
a school who was a professional WWF. Well, back then it was the WWF wrestling. Um, he approached me. He had his car at the shop, and I was detailing. He says, "You're a big guy. Do you ever think about professional wrestling?" I said, "No, but I watch it all the time. I'm a big fan of Hulk Hogan, and now Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the Attitude Era was like the greatest era of
Yeah.
professional wrestling. I friggin' loved it." And he asked me if I wanted to come to his school, and I was like, "I have epilepsy." He goes, "Ah, don't worry about it. You'll be fine." So go home that night. And my father was there, and I said, Dad, I got approached to become a professional wrestler. He goes, you do that, I'm going to disassemble your bones with a bat. So that came off the table. He said, you have epilepsy. You ain't going to do shit like that. So I never became a professional wrestler, but that was one of the things that I wanted to do myself.
I gave up the dream for professional wrestling I was going to race motocross.
Wow.
That's what I was going to do for a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Do you ever skydive?
No.
Why?
Well, I always thought that I would, and then I became a mom, and I'm kind of like, I just can't do stuff that there's like a probability that I could die anymore.
And how do your kids feel about you as a roller derby queen?
They're not fond of the smell that comes along with roller derby. That's like, they're disgusted by my skate bag. Like, I remember was like super, super little, and he came out, we're all stretching afterwards, and he's like, what is that smell? And I was like, well, honey, that's blood, sweat, and tears right there. He's like, I like it. There's a funny, I started skating when my oldest, who was 15, he was 6 months old. Well, he'll be 15 next month. He was 6 months old when I started. So I used to like bring him. And then I found out that I was pregnant after with my second one, after my first game, like our first competitive game, like that was on a Saturday. I found out that I was pregnant with Rocco on Monday, and everybody was like, oh my God, your baby's going to be really fucked up. But so Rocco was probably, I don't know, he was walking. So like, 1.5, 2 years old or something. And we're practicing, and they're at the rink because they would come with me all the time. And Rocco went running out onto the track. One of my teammates grabbed me, and like, we're skating. I didn't even see Rocco. My friend saw, and my teammate grabbed me and threw me because she couldn't get to Rocco quick enough. But she was like, if I throw Maureen, because that's what we do sometimes in derby. Like, if you can't get to somebody, you just throw your teammate and they'll maybe make it there quicker. So they threw me at my kid, and I didn't know what was happening until I was in the air and saw my son and grabbed him and just rolled him and just stood up on my skates. I was like, baby's good. And we're back to skating.
I've seen what you're talking about when you throw people. It's like it's like a slingshot.
Yeah. So the boys they're used to it. They love it. They've like another funny story they always like to tell was like Rocco one time was sitting by the penalty box, and I was like, baby, why are you sitting over here? He was like, so I could spend more time with you. The penalty box. I was like, smart kid.
That's awesome.
My granddaughter likes to spend time in the gym with me when I'm there. She has her own weight set.
Oh yeah, you showed me pictures of that. I love her.
She does front squats, like best form I've ever seen.
That's great. That's
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Chrissy, back to you. You have any questions?
No, I don't. I found that last story to be really interesting.
Yeah, she is pretty badass.
Very badass. Maureen, where can our listeners find you if they were interested? Your email or website, possibly?
They could, if you go to Mind and Spine, I think it's mindandspine.com. Let me take a look, because my practice is actually located within a wellness center. So I've treated all, like from derby, my body is jacked up. I was hit by a car when I was 12, and then, all the years of derby. I'm just, every joint has something wrong with it. So I had been treating everything holistically. So acupuncture, chiropractic, nutrition, obviously has been a huge part. So Dr. Jeff there had been my doctor for years, and really I would roll in there, like he still laughs about like with concussions, like not really knowing what was going on. He'd be like, all right, you're going to lay down over here now. I'm like, okay. So actually, like right before COVID hit, he had talked me, he was like, just move your practice, come with us, like-minded people working towards the same goal. Like, you'll have your own space, do your own thing, but like, we'll still be a team. So I was like, absolutely, sign me up. So I pretty much just put all my stuff in with theirs. So let me just pull up the website. Really, like we touch on everything. His wife also does mental health counseling. She comes there like on Tuesdays, but she has her own practice.
It's a great facility that you guys have.
Isn't it great? I'm super proud. I'm really grateful that he, trusted like, you know, what I'm about and what I want to do, as far as like, you know, caretaking, and that he felt like it was part of like his mission too, you know, enough to bring me on.
What is your favorite method for wellness physically? Like, what do you find your go-to is?
Oh God, it depends upon the day. Typically, I enjoy weightlifting. I do. Like I've kind of shifted mine. Mine was very, um, very heavy, you know, prior to, you know, PC pre-COVID stuff.
Mhm.
But I started
PC.
going on this, from my best friend that brought me the 20s, um, this thing called street parking, and it was just it's got programs that are just like very easily done at home, and they're short. So I've been doing a lot more like high intensity stuff, which I do have to kind of break away and go heavier again because I like, have you seen Chris? I keep just losing weight. Like I was about 140 when we met, like, but I
Right.
don't you realize that like, you know, I had some weight to me. I wasn't never like, you know, a big girl, but I'd been lifting heavier and skating and stuff. And like my, so I was eating differently then. And as of a couple weeks ago, I was down to 113. I'm back up to 117 now, which is great. Um, so right now, kind of in that transitional period, go from like the high intensity to like a uh, little heavier at this point, because I need it to bulk up a little bit. Yeah, the website is mindandspine.com, just like I thought.
Great.
And
Awesome.
you'll see my stuff as well as like what the practice has to offer.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Maureen, for coming on the show. It was so great to have you here.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks
Maureen.
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys, for listening to the Fitness Lifestyle Podcast, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.